Hello, everyone. I am Dr. KatherineT.Kelly. I am a holistic health psychologist and soul healing specialist. And I get asked occasionally, why is it that we don't remember past lives? And, I've been trained in past life regression for several years. I trained under Brian Weiss, who is kind of the guru in America of understanding how this all works. He is actually a psychiatrist who uh, accidentally came upon past life work as he was doing hypnosis with patients 30, 40 years ago, didn't know what to do with it. And then he started studying it. And lo and behold, there are several of his colleagues that were having experiences too with their clients, but they didn't know really what to do with it. They didn't know who to talk to. So Brian Weiss has become really the leading, I should say, gold standard teacher in the United States for using past life regression therapy to help people. And so as a psychologist, and I've been doing mental health work for about 37 years, 38 years, give or take. And as a psychologist, years ago, I started to realize there was a lot more to what was happening. I was doing deep meditations and visualizations with clients and having them have experiences as well. But it's not until you usually get into that very deep state of relaxation where the unconscious can come to the surface. And usually it's when something needs some help. It's usually when there's an issue that someone is trying to work through that comes to the surface that some of the past life information comes up. And there's a reason for that. And so I want to talk through 4 reasons in my world why we don't remember past life information, even though up to 50% of people, whether they're Christian or not, actually believe in past lives. And so I want to help people understand this. So the first thing is we're not living the same life. So if we are in this modern age and we're having a life and we're going through the motions of doing the human condition, and then we start having these flashes from the 1700s or the 1800s, and life was very different back then. There's a different energy, there's a different mindset, there's everything's different. And so if we have these flashbacks, we wouldn't know what to do with them. We are living different lives, so we would not know how to integrate the information. Secondly, there are new lessons in every lifetime. The whole point of having a lifetime is that we're picking up where we left off from the emotional perspective and from the life lessons perspective, but it's a totally different set of lessons in most cases. We do have residual past life lessons that we're here to kind of tidy up and finish up. But in most cases, we have a whole new set of lessons we're supposed to live in every lifetime. And yes, sometimes linking it to previous lifetimes will definitely help you excel in overcoming whatever you're kind of challenged by. But we have a new set of lessons. Part 3 is, again, we wouldn't know what to do with the information. In other words, if we have these flashes, the world at large doesn't talk about this stuff. Now, my friends, we talk about this stuff all the time, and my clients and I can talk about this all the time. But, the world at large is not going around talking about past life stuff. And, so we wouldn't know where to go. We wouldn't know how to talk through this stuff in modern society, which is a shame as far as I'm concerned from someone who does past life work with people to help them resolve the string of lessons or the string of strange relationships or sticky relationships. If you can resolve that kind of information and you know how to do it, it can go a long way in your soul's evolution and your healing. But if you don't know what to do with it, it sits with you, and it can kind of mess with you, really. It can kind of mix you up quite a bit if you don't have a place to talk about it and someone to go to in order to help you figure out why these, spontaneous kinds of memories are coming up. And, this leads into number 4, being a psychologist. If people were going around having these past life flashes all the time, they would think they were crazy. Now, I wouldn't think they were crazy. I would be like, hey, cool, let's dig in and let's figure out why this stuff is coming to the surface right now. But the thing is, there are reasons why, a lot of times we don't remember those things. So, what's really interesting is there is a lot of research out there. and lots of books out there actually about kids who have past life memories. They're talking to their parents about, this or that. There's several books out there. And there's also a research center up in Virginia that still researches when there is a child that is displaying some past life information to their parents. And, these parents are, if they know to call this research center up at UVA, they will be interviewed and they will put all the information together. So it's interesting because what happens with kids who remember past life kinds of memories, a lot of times the parents don't know what to do with it. A lot of the parents will, kind of scoot it off to the side thinking it's an imaginary world. A lot of times they won't affirm the kid for having those kinds of experiences. And so the kid kind of learns, well, I guess this is my imagination. And so they kind of filter it out of their experience. But it is usually kids that are able to spontaneously remember things, and they're not making up stories. You can kind of tell the difference if a kid's making up a story, but if you can link it to factual kinds of information and help people understand that, okay, if you're seeing a kid or hearing a kid say something that seems strangely accurate or factual, and then you go look it up, you probably will be able to link some things back. And again, there are lots of books out there about this. And so in my world, I wish parents wouldn't do that. I wish parents would understand that this is a way that this kid is trying to make sense of their current life because they're having this experience from previous lifetimes. But again, the world isn't ready for that in many ways. So if you think about these 4 different reasons that, we're not living the same life, if we're having these flashes from, 1700s or 1600s or even before, and we're living this modern life in the 21st century, we would be like, yeah, I'm just making this up, or this is my imagination, or people would be worried about sharing that information. So, and then again, secondly, those new lessons, we have a whole new set of lessons that again can be linked to previous lifetimes. Oftentimes they are, and we need to kind of excavate some of that information to help a person dislodge something that they're stuck with in this lifetime. Again, we wouldn't know what to do with it. And then that 4th part is that people would think we were crazy if, we went around. Now, again, I love the fact that I have a building community of people around the world that I can talk to about these kinds of things, and they can talk to me about these kinds of things, because it is a matter of bringing it all together. This is about our soul's evolution. And if something is coming up from a previous lifetime that is difficult or sticky or whatever, it is wonderful to weave it together to help a person do their healing work. And I'm going to guess that this is going to continue to be more popular because the statistics are actually quite clear that in the last 20, 30 years, more and more people are admitting that they believe in past lives. And I say admitting because I think many always believed in past lives. They just didn't have a place to talk about it. So now that it's becoming a little more of a conversational piece, then basically, more and more people are admitting this. I have a story about a Catholic nun that I had a conversation with. This was probably 8 to 10 years ago. I grew up Catholic. I don't practice Catholicism, but I very much respect a lot of the whatever religious beliefs that are out there, as long as they are good-hearted beliefs. And so I have been on the board of a Catholic retreat center. I went to a Catholic retreat center for my own healing and my own kind of, in fact, I wrote some of my books there, some of the aspects of the books. I volunteered there. It was one of those things where I got to know the sisters that ran the place pretty well. And I had this conversation with one of the sisters one day, and she knew what I was writing about. She was supportive. She, didn't try to interfere with any of that. But she basically said to me, and we were having this conversation about spirituality in general one day, and I said to her, yeah, so what do you think about reincarnation? And she just kind of laughed and she said, I have a hard enough time trying to manage this lifetime. I'm not sure what I would do with information from previous lifetimes. She said, I don't discount it. I don't have any issue about it. She said, I can't tell you the number of people that have come here and said they've had past lives as nuns or a priest or whomever. And she said, but for me, I just can't manage anything more than I'm already managing. And that is such a poignant, response, according to these four things that I said, is like she wouldn't know what to do with it. She wouldn't know where to go to talk to people. She wouldn't really know what to do with the extra information. And for her, again, it was enough for her to be building and creating and running this retreat center that's kind of nationally and internationally known. And it's one of those things where when she said that, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. And so it wasn't important for her to dig into previous lifetimes, but she also wouldn't have known what to do with it. So there is a building interest in understanding past lives. I just got a call from someone yesterday. I don't know this person, but she was referred from someone I've worked with and done some soul healing with a while back. And she's interested in some past life work. She sent me an email with 4 or 5 different things that she's really wanting to dig into and understand so it can help her in this lifetime. Um, I have an 83-year-old client who just a brand new client who contacted me and said, I am at that stage where I want to make sure I'm getting my life right. So I want to do some Akashic record readings with you. I want to do some past life work with you. I want to tidy up whatever I need to before I pass on to the next life. And I'm like, good for you, 83-year-old, let's do it. So there's a building, beautiful connection with helping people understand how to integrate past life information and how to really put it to use. And, I'm teaching this course right now for practitioners and coaches and educators. And it's basically a certification program to help them understand how the soul really works in modern life. And it's been really fun and beautiful to watch this group of individuals have these aha moments and connect dots and realize how it's all woven together. And they're starting to realize, wow, okay, obviously there's much more to the human condition than we know or that we've known in the past. But they're starting to understand that we are continuous beings. We are basically, we are our ability to evolve is infinite, and it all has to do with linking together previous lifetimes, past lifetimes, and where it's going to take us in the future. So these whole reasons of why we don't remember is, for some, it's for their own good because they couldn't handle more. The fourth, I guess the fifth thing I would add with this is the whole idea that sometimes the information you receive is very difficult to hear. It's very tragic. It's very vivid. And I have had some very vivid memories of my own deaths and my own, I guess, battles, I would say, in previous lifetimes, and having a family member's soul kill me in a previous lifetime more than once. And so it's like, but it helps me understand so much about kind of how those sticky relationships are. And that's why if you knew how to handle that difficult information and you had a space to handle it in, and you had someone to help you interpret what it was all about, then and how it affects you in this lifetime with your current relationships or current health issues, whatever it might be, it can take you so far. It can take you so far with your own human healing, and it can take you into your soul's evolution in a whole different way. So this is really about illuminating all aspects of ourselves and not discounting these memories, not discounting the fact that we have a history beyond this lifetime and how it is that we weave it together. So again, I would say that there are 5 things, having added this last one. It's that whole idea of, we're not living that same lifetime. There are new lessons to learn. We wouldn't know what to do with it. And then basically, this whole idea of whether or not you'd think you were crazy for having those memories, but then that tragic information that we might be excavating as part of our past might be difficult unless you know what to do with it as well. So those are the 5 reasons. I would definitely kind of invite you to explore this even more, learn about how this could be helpful for you. And, if it's not helpful for you, you're not interested, that's not a problem. But I would actually encourage you to encourage others if they are interested in it, because it can be so healing. And I will tell you, I'm 55 years old. I don't think I would be able to handle the human condition if I didn't understand how all of this was woven together. And if I hadn't done the past life healing that I needed to do to understand who I am, why I am who I am, why I've had these sticky relationships and families and all of that as well, I wouldn't be who I am. And it's a, beautiful, again, I call it excavation. It's an excavation process that can lead you into a whole new way of being. I talk about living a radiant life. Well, we can't do that if we're weighed down by stuff in this lifetime or previous lifetimes. And oftentimes it is the past life information that unlocks the blockages in keeping us that have kept us from moving forward. So I hope this information has been helpful for you. I love really helping people understand the practicalities of the soul. And this might not seem practical, but when you do healing work and you pin things together, people are like, oh my gosh, this makes so much sense. And that is what I hear all the time is this makes so much sense. So again, Dr. Katherine Kelly, I'm a soul healing specialist. If you're interested, go to my website at www.drkatherine.T.Kelly.com. And if you're a practitioner or a coach or an educator and you want to know more, I'm also going to be launching another series of my Soul Health Scholars certifications in the next 6 months. So you are welcome to add yourself to the list. So hope you have a wonderful day. And if you have comments, leave them here, and I would love to hear what you have to say. Take care.